BookTube! Today I'm going to talk to you about my unfinished series. It's a pretty long list, and that's why one of my goals for this year is to complete 5 of the series on this list, so I can finally start cutting down on some of these. Everything I read seems to be a part of a series, and so I figured I would share with you what some of those are and which ones I'm going to prioritize trying to finish for this year. 9 of these series actually have all of the books out already, I just need to get around to reading them, and then the rest are still in progress. So to start off, we'll talk about the ones that all the books are out already, starting with the Undertaken Trilogy by Ari Berg. The first book in that series is Death Watch, and it's the only one of the trilogy that I've read. I really enjoyed the first book in this series. It's like this really creepy, atmospheric ghost story, and I really do want to see how it's going to continue, so I'm definitely going to pick up the other 2 books in this trilogy. Next up is Incarceron, a duology by Catherine Fisher. I've only read the first one, I have not read the second one. It's a really fascinating setting, and I'm very curious to see how the story is going to conclude, so definitely plan on at some point picking up the other one in the duology. Next up is another duology, The City of Dark Magic, and it's really interesting sort of suspense thriller mostly, but with fantastical elements. It's by Magnus Flight, which is a pseudonym for 2 other authors who co-write these stories together, and I'm really interested to see how the story ends. Next up we have a classic series, The Chronicles of Narnia. I've read 5 of them, and I'd like to reread them and then finally get around to the last 2 at some point. After that we have a dystopian trilogy that a lot of people on BookTube like, which is the Legend Trilogy by Maureen. I've read the first one, I have not read the other ones. I've heard very mixed things, but I'm interested enough to at least give the second one a try, and if I still like that one, then I will consider finishing this trilogy. Next up we have another very popular trilogy, especially on BookTube right now, which is the Mistborn Trilogy by Brandon Sanderson. I had started this a while back, but didn't have the time to commit to just sit down and read it, so finally I've sort of started back up again, and I'm really excited. I'm only a little bit of the way through, but I'm getting really into the characters in the world now. I'm sort of settled in a little bit more, so very excited to see where this journey takes me. I have a feeling I'm absolutely gonna fall in love with it. Next up we have another trilogy, or I guess you could say it's one book, that I'm pretty ashamed to say that I have not finished yet, and that is the Lord of the Rings trilogy by J.R.R. Tolkien. I've grown up with these films, I'm in love with this world, and yet I am ashamed to say I have not read all the books. I've read the first one, and I've read The Hobbit, but I have not read Two Towers or Return of the King, so definitely need to get on that because I love the story and I want to actually say that I've read the books. Like, it's really embarrassing. Next up we have another trilogy, which is the Miss Peregrine's Peculiar Children trilogy. Whew, that's difficult to say. I read the first one, but I have yet to read the other 2, even though I do own them now, and so I just need to get around to reading them. And then the last series that I plan on reading, that all of the books are already out, is the Homecoming series by Cynthia Voigt. I might be pronouncing that wrong. If I am, I'm sorry. I think you can read them as standalones for the most part, but there are 7 that all sort of go together in this series, and so I'm interested in at least checking out a few of them. I really enjoyed Homecoming years ago when I read it, and so I'd like to revisit it and see if I want to continue. So altogether that is 27 books that I have to read, and so needless to say I'm not going to get to all of these this year, but the ones that I want to prioritize are the Lord of the Rings trilogy, the Mistborn trilogy, the Miss Peregrine's trilogy, and probably a couple of the duologies that I mentioned, so Incarceron or The City of Dark Magic, or both. But we'll see. I'm very much a mood reader, so that's kind of my plan, but we'll see how the year unfolds and what I actually feel like reading. And so in addition to all of those series that have all the books out, there are a number of ones that I'm reading that I love that are still in progress, and so I can't finish them. It's not my fault in this case. 3 of those are graphic novel series that I've just started this past year that I'm really excited about and would like to continue with. The first of which, of course, is Saga by Brian K. Vaughan and Fiona Staples. I love, love, love this graphic novel series, and I've read up to the 3rd one. I'm waiting on the 4th one to come in my library. I had to request it, and then I have the 5th one that I borrowed. So as soon as that comes in, I will be all caught up. Definitely want to get caught up on that, as well as Chew by John Layman and Rob Guillory, I believe. There are a ton of volumes of those, but again, they're really fast reads, so I feel like I could kind of get caught up pretty quickly if I wanted to this year. And then I also have Death Jr., which I just started this past year, which is super adorable. I think there's only one other volume out, so definitely would like to get caught up there. And then as far as other series of novels that are still in progress that I'd definitely like to keep up with as soon as the next ones come out, there's the Shades of London series by Maureen Johnson, which I think has has just one more left to come out. And then also this past year I read a book called The Invisible Library by Genevieve Cogman, and it was really good. It's such a book lover's book. It's basically about a librarian who's kind of like a secret agent. Like there's this library that exists between dimensions and they try to collect every single book in existence, basically. And so she has to go to these alternate worlds and like get books as if she's some sort of crazy secret agent that has to steal literature. And it's so funny and it's so great and I love it. And apparently it's going to be a series, so I'm definitely gonna keep my eye on it and read the next ones as they come out. And then also apparently Warm Bodies is getting a sequel. I like just found this out, I think last month or something like that, and I'm pumped. I don't think it needs one. If you guys have read it or seen the movie, like I feel like it's like somewhat open-ended, I guess, but not really. So I'm curious to see sort of where that's gonna go, but it could be good. I have my hopes high. And then the last two, I think you guys could probably guess without me even having to say them, but they are the A Song of Ice and Fire series by George R.R. Martin and the Kingkiller Chronicles by Patrick Rothfuss. I have been eagerly awaiting the continuation in both of these series. I'm very optimistic though, especially for Winds of Winter, because I know that George R.R. Martin tried really hard to get that book done by the end of this past year and just couldn't quite do it. So I'm thinking that we're gonna get it no later than March of next year. That's what I bet. March 2017. Just give him one more year and I think he'll have it done. As far as day 3 though, who knows? But whenever it does come out, I am going to devour it so fast. I absolutely love both of these series. Whenever the rest of those books come out for both of those series, I'll be a very, very happy camper and I will absolutely be reading the crap out of them. And so that is all of them. Those are all of my unfinished series. There are a ton of them, I know, which is why I'm just gonna plan on kind of picking away them year by year. Definitely let me know down in the comments below a couple of series that you are very eager to finish, or maybe a series that you're desperately waiting for a new book to come out. And that's about it for me. So this has been a list video. My name is Jackie and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye!